So that's off the 1. How great. And I'm here on the 1 for a little while, and I just played what kind of chord? An E flat major chord. So that's why I did this movement. It's our God. Sing with me how. Now we're on the relative minor, which is C, right? And I can do it here on this tone. So I'll show you when we get this. How great is our God. Sing with me, how great. Right here, here it is. You can do that off the C, which is a 6th tone too as well. Hey, welcome back to the Chord Crush Thursdays, where every week we get into a new chord or chord progression that hopefully will help you to take your playing to another level. This week we're going to be focusing in on 3 movements. And once you learn these 3 movements in any key, you can instantly transform these 3 movements into 9 different movements just by simply applying the same movement over a different bass note. These work in a lot of songs, they work in talk music. These are things that you gotta know, so make sure you stay to the end because I'm gonna give you various different song examples. I'm gonna give you a breakdown, shortcuts on how to do that. But before we get into the lesson, I wanna say congratulations to last week's winner who won 90 free days in the Gospel Music Training Center. That is the place where you gotta be if you want to take your playing to the next level. Learning gospel music from your favorite songs, playing in a band from beginners to intermediate to advanced. We got it all. So that's the gospelmusictraining.com. And how you enter to win is simply by getting in the comment section. We pick a random commenter every week to win 90 days for free in the Gospel Music Training Center. So congratulations to last week's winner. Make sure you guys like the video if you love our content, and also if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any of the future content we got coming your way. And one more thing, if you want the free download of all of the chords from this particular lesson in all 12 keys, text us at the number that you see on the screen. It's also in the description below. You can download the PDF, we'll send it to you just by text. All right, so here we go. We're gonna get started. We're gonna be in the key E flat major. Let's check out the number system scale. Here we go. So E flat is our 1, F is our 2, G is our 3, A flat is the 4, B flat is the 5, C is the 6, D is the 7, and then we're back at the 1, E flat, okay? So that's what we use to identify the scale, and this is how we connect music to a system and a language. You know, you can see chords better, you can see progressions better because we have something to refer to, and we can take the system and apply it to other keys too as well. So it's great to understand all your scales as well as the number systems for all 12 keys. But we're in the key E flat major. So you've heard this movement before in church, you've heard it in songs, in the flow of your church service. And it sounds like this. If I were to play this movement over the 1, we're in the key E flat, the 1 is E flat. It'll sound like this. Now you can take the same movement and it doesn't just work on a 1. This is a major type of movement when we play it over the 1. So it's like doing this for landing on a E flat major type of chord voicing when you're in the 1. But then you can take this and apply it to the relative minor too as well, which is C. And we're gonna get into why in a second, but the relative minor for E flat is C. So the same movement works off of C. So if I were to play C, boom, it works off of C, and then it also works off of G too as well, okay? So when you take one movement, you can multiply it by 3 because you can actually play it over 3 different tones, starting with the major, and then going to its relative minor, and then also going to the major third interval of whatever the root note is. So in this case, the major third of E flat is G. It's the major third interval. It's the 3rd tone of the scale. So that movement works off of the 1, it works off the 6, and it also works off of the 3. Now, to put this in context, even if you heard it on the 3, a song where you might hear this is Praise Is What I Do. So right there, or so praise is what I do. Okay, right there, that's it. And I just did it off of the 3, off of G. And then here it is off a different bass note. Right there. That's off the 5. Same movement, but we based it off of a B flat major type of chord. Okay? So we're gonna break these down. We're gonna get different variations, and by the end of this lesson, you're gonna be able to have things that you can apply instantly into your playing. So make sure you stick around to the end because you're not gonna miss this breakdown and its full context of how you can use it and really make it your own. All right, so first things first, what you need to identify are the primary chords in any key. In this particular key, we're in the key of E flat major. Now, when you hear the words primary chords, think 1, 4, 5, okay? 1, the 1 is in this key is E flat. The 4 is what? You should know. It's A flat. And then the 5 is what? It's B flat. So the 1 tone, the 4 tone, and the 5 tone. Those are the primary chords. And when you hear that, a lot of times you're thinking major. So the 1 chord will be major. The 4 chord would be major. The 5 chord would be major. So you gotta understand your scale. The 1 is E flat, play an E flat major chord. The 4 chord, A flat, play an A flat major chord. The 5 chord is B flat, play a B flat major chord. Now, I told you to play these chords just for the simple fact that you have to understand that this movement, I'm rooting it first before I start to branch off into the alternate bass notes. I'm rooting it first off of major chords. And when you look at any key, a lot of times the major chords are gonna be on the 1, the 4, and the 5, especially when you're playing worship music. You're gonna find yourself playing an E flat major chord on the 1, sorry about that, and then the A flat major chord on the 4, and a B flat major chord on the 5. So how do you actually come up and find the actual movement? Well, I'm going to give you some shortcuts. I'm pretty sure in classical training, and somebody's going to be like, well, that's a play go cadence or something, or they're going to go all technical, but I'm going to make this easy for you. That's the whole thing about what we do at the Gospel Music Training Center. We give you shortcuts to make it practical, to make it easy, and we make music theory consumable where you can actually say, I can do this. That's exactly what we're going to do. So I said find the major chord. So let's start with the 1, right? So the first thing I would do to try to find this movement in any key is to say, okay, the 1 chord is E flat. So this is the first movement that we're gonna find. So I would play an E flat major chord in root position, right? So then, okay, we got the chord, but where does the movement come from? All right, so let's look at the right hand, the middle note. That's the second to highest note of the chord. That's G. Drop the G into your left hand. So now what we have is the chord that we're eventually going to end up at the end of the movement. So when we do this, look at what we're ending up on. Or if we go, look at the last notes of the chord. We're ending up on an E flat major chord in drop 2. So now it's like, okay, now that we know this is the ending, and this works on the 1, right? Because it's an E flat major chord, it's just drop 2. How do you move? Like, what notes do you use to move? Well, remember 2 things, whole step, half step. So for the lowest note of the chord in your left hand, remember, whole step, half step, these are distances. So the first note that we dropped to our left hand, which was that G, when we dropped it, the movement is gonna happen around this. So this is the middle note of 2 notes. The first note is a whole step down, the second note is a half step up. So remember, whole step, half step. So how the movement happens in the left hand, if we were to look at these notes, not in reference to any scale, if we were to just count these notes, there's 3 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, there's 3 different notes. So if I was to tell you how to move it just based upon knowing that there's 3 notes, I would say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so that's how I would move it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so go to the first tone, go to the second tone, then the third tone, back to the first tone, to the second. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And that's not in relationship to the scale or number system. We're just saying in order of 1, 2, 3, okay? Because it's only 3 notes. Now, if you want to actually relate this to a scale in theory terms, you can relate this to the root note E flat, right? So if you think about the E flat major scale, in the number system of the scale, this is going 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, okay? That's in relationship to the E flat major scale in the number system. So it's the second tone, third, fourth, second, third, okay? So that's the left hand, right? So you got 2 options. remember, if you're thinking about it, once you actually do the shortcut, you can use 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 for the notes in order, or you can think about the scale, and the root of the scale is E flat. So the E flat major scale, look at the number system and scale of E flat and say 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Okay, same thing. All right, so now that's the left hand. So we already said that this is the drop 2 voicing of an E flat major chord, right? Second to highest note, dropping into just the middle note, which is the second to highest note, drop it to the left hand. So we got the left hand going. So what about the right hand? Well, you can actually think about the lowest note. The movement is going to happen around this first note of the chord, right? Because when we move, we're going to end up on this E flat. So for the left hand, I said, remember what? Whole step, half step. Well, for the right hand, it's opposite. It's half step, whole step. So once you look at the lowest note, you're going to go down what? A half step. And then the other note on the other side of this, you're going to go what? Up. A whole step. So look at this note. Remember, half step, whole step. So the first tone to the left is a half step down. The note to the right is a whole step up. In the B flat, that's gonna still be held, because remember, this is a drop 2 voicing. The movement is gonna happen around here. Okay, so you can think about it like that. So when it comes down to the movement, you got these 3 notes, and you can move it the same way. If you count them, we got 3 notes. You can go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay? All while holding the B flat. So it'll be like this. Okay? Now, if I were to get into theory, right? Very simple, and I'm not going to go deep off into the other chords, because it's the same concept, just over different bass notes, and I'll show you why in just a second. But this idea is just like taking a scale. If we were to take it in third intervals in the key E flat, right? The E flat major scale, if we were to move it up in third intervals, and that's just going every other note of the scale. It's like doing this. I'll do it one more time. That was a little sloppy. But inverted. So when I say inverted, that means, take the top note and bring it down to the bottom. So if you take this down and move it to the bottom, it's like this. You can hear it's the same thing, but it sounds lower because the top note, that went to the bottom. And this stayed here. Okay, so it's like doing this in third. So if you want to think about it that way, you can go from the 7 to the 1 to the 2. That's too hard. Okay, right? We're going to keep it simple. So we can keep the shortcuts and do it that way, use the drop 2s and the shortcuts. So now we got this for E flat major, right? And I'm speeding up because I don't got a lot of time. If you want to dive deeper, you need to join the Gospel Music Training Center, because we dive deep. We got a lot of chords in there. We got a lot of breakdowns. So check out gospelmusictraining.com. But this one movement works off of the 1, but it also works off of the 6. Because when you think about the major chords, right? And this doesn't matter what major chord you are looking at. Every major chord has a cousin. In this case, the cousin is what we call the relative minor. Now, that sounds real hard and technical, but really the relative minor is just 1, 2, 3 half steps down, okay? So if you know the major chord and you want to find out what other bass note this can move on, as well as, the major chord or the 1, well, count down 3 half steps, okay? And that's going to give you the other tone. And honestly, this is just the 6th tone of E flat, okay? So you can look at it like that. So whatever major chord you're on, or major tone, if you think about that scale, it's pretty much the 6th tone of that scale. So the 6th tone of E flat major is C, right? So, but if you want to do it, and you don't know all your scales, you can just say it's down 3 half steps. It's a minor third down. 1, 2, 3. So then now we could do the same movement over whenever we go to a minor chord, right? Let me see. I had a song in my phone, if y'all don't mind me pulling it up real quick. Another song is How Great Is Our God. So when we think about this movement, remember, I did this. And I'll do it really slow. So I got the B flat, I'm holding that. So you can actually start from the third note if you want to. But I showed you this one first. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Ba-na-na-na-na, all while you're holding the top note. But then you can also start from the top. And you can go 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So you can go 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And that's 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And it's fast. Okay, it sounds like that. So if I was to play How Great Is Our God? How great is our God? Sing with me, how great is our God? Oh, you see how great. That's another one off of a different bass note. Is our God. And this is another movement that I showed you on the last video, right? Okay, let's do it again. How great. And I'll do it right here. Is our God. Right there. And that's the one I just showed you. So that's off the one. How great. And I'm here on the one for a little while, and I just played what kind of chord? An E flat major chord. So that's why I did this movement. It's our God. Sing with me how. Now we're on the relative minor, which is C, right? And I can do it here on this tone. So I'll show you when we get this. How great is our God. Sing with me how great. Right here, here it is. You can do that off the C, which is a 6th tone too as well. And then you can do it off the 4. Right there. You can do it off the 5 too as well. That was wrong. But you get the idea, right? All right, so once again, I'll show you the first one that I showed you. This is off of the 1, which is the E flat, the major chord, right? And we did 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And I'm counting not the number system, but I'm looking at the notes. In the left hand, it's 3 notes. I'm looking at the right hand, it's 3 notes, excluding the top note. You know, of course, the right hand is 4, but I'm looking at them in small clusters. So that's how I'm getting this pattern. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And then the other one is 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. But while you're holding the E flat. So practice this off of the 1. Na, 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 na. Practice it like this too off the 1. Na, 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 na. And this one is harder. So I can't even do it. I'm trying to see how that top note hits. So it's like these hit together. So it's like this. I was trying to figure it out real quick. Okay? And this works not just off the 1. Remember, I said, once you find the 1, there's other ones. This is just one of the primary chords. This is just the 1. But you can break this off into 3 different bass notes. You got the 1, you got the relative minor, which is the 6, and then you got the major 3rd interval, which is the G. So you can do this off the 1, you can do it off the 6, and you can also do it off of 3. Okay, and I showed you different ways. So we're gonna end it right here. We're gonna actually pick it up with some of the other chords that you could do this on, because you can do it, once you start to do this same concept over different bass notes, outside of just the 1, you know, you can, like I said, we're gonna get into 9 different ones total. We only covered the first 3. We're gonna cover the next one on the next video. But thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope this kind of gave you some insight on some of these movements and how they work, and even some shortcuts. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. Also hit the notification bell. But now we're gonna get to the moment that we all been waiting for. We're gonna pick a winner to win 90 free days in the Gospel Music Training Center. Here we go, let's get it. All right, so now we got a random comment picker right here. We're gonna pick a winner. First things first, we gotta grab the URL from last week's video, episode 28, and then copy that over to here. We're gonna filter out any duplicate commenters so that way, they don't have an unfair chance. We're gonna gather the comments. Let's see here. So we got 45 unique comments. And then we're gonna click start right here. Let me close this ad. All these ads. And then we're gonna pick a winner. Here we go. Let's see who got it. Joe Brown, congratulations, man. It says, I heard the movements both in church for years. I never knew that the movements were based on thirds. Congratulations, Joe Brown. And thanks for the comment too as well. So make sure you give us an email at help@hearandplay.com to retrieve your 90 free days in the Gospel Music Training Center. That's help@hearandplay.com. Once again, congratulations, God bless, and we'll see y'all on the next episode of Chord Crush Thursdays.